The following is a presentation of TFNN. Time to talk about your health. Living a primal lifestyle.
We have Mike from Chicago on the line, and he has a question about digestion.
Hi, Mike.
Hey, guys. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
First of all, I just wanted to say that I love the show. I think it's great programming, and I'm very much of a like mind when it comes to, taking control of your own health and certainly doing your own research.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now your hosts, Nico Haan and Paige Clark.
Happy Friday and welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle, where we explore a return to a more balanced, natural, wild world so we can take control of our health, our living situation, as well as our personal choices. And my name is Nico Haan, and it's a beautiful day here in downtown Clearwater. In fact, I have a special guest. This is Ellen Haan, my wife, the person I spend most of my time with, my day and night. How you doing today, baby?
I'm doing great.
Yeah, good. Well, thanks for coming by. Folks, please subscribe to our Health Signals newsletter. Please take a look at the Primal Edge so you can get the vitamins you need, the minerals you need, and you can do this all on the TFNN.com website. And we're taking your phone calls here, 727-927-6648. So, Ellen, I've wanted you on the program for a long time because, we have a lot of fun together. But you are kind of unique in a way because, first of all, my wife is an attorney. And she does work in a unique field, which is community associations. And community associations are a type of living arrangement, I would say, that's kind of modern. And it's a lot different than how I grew up. So let's talk about that a little bit. So first of all, I've known Ellen over 20 years. We met about 21 years ago, matter of fact, right around this time of year. And we met each other actually in a business function of the Community Associations Institute, which you're a member of and was a past president of and stuff like that. So that was kind of nice. I had lived in California for a few years and kind of back in Florida and kind of didn't want to travel a lot, but my buddy Michael invited me to come along on this trip up to Hutchinson Island, and he's the one to introduce me to my wife.
Yeah.
So that's how kind of it all started.
The rest was history.
As they say, the rest is history. We've been married for 20 years now, and it's the best relationship I've ever had. And I'm just excited that you're here so we can talk a little bit about, one of the things, there was a big change for you this year. And I always, when I used to be in front of the corporate world, one of the things I talked about, how change is hard and people resist change a lot. And I was always so proud of you, how you made that switch, because you all of a sudden saw the light that you were not going any further with the company you were with, and you wanted to make a change. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, 28 years with the company, and things change always.
Yeah.
We would all like it if they don't.
Right.
We would like things to continue along. We're happy. We enjoy ourselves. We like things never to change, but they always do.
Yeah.
So the question is, what do you do with change after being someplace for 28 years and facing the prospect of going to a new environment, new setup, new framework, starting over as an attorney? You don't have any clients on day one.
Right.
And so you have to start, you're going to have to recreate a book of business.
Yeah.
And it was very challenging for me. And I think the biggest lesson I learned, well, first I went to a nurturing environment where I'm completely supported. And I know you were happy when I made the change.
Well, I saw the last few years you being under stress. The company had changed completely. Some great owners had started this company, and as they retired, you have a whole new corporate mindset of people not really knowing the client or the employees as well, and certainly they don't have the same directive that those people had. And you saw that change. I saw the change. It was very frustrating, and all of a sudden I see Ellen making calls and saying, I'm making a change. And that was really cool.
Yeah, it was the scariest thing I'd done in years.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It was right up there with agreeing to marry you after I knew you for 10 days.
Yeah. And look how that worked out.
That's right.
Yes, exactly.
That's right. So I thought, well, Okay, and I went to a situation in which I was completely supported and was able, and my partner had more confidence in the change than I did initially. But the one big lesson I took from that experience of changing after 28 years was change is neither good nor bad. It's completely neutral. It's just different.
Right.
And so it's a matter of how you deal with it.
Yes,
And,
exactly. How you handle that whole thing.
Right.
Yeah. and that's a big thing. And somebody that doesn't like change, and I knew that you didn't, and the way you handled it, I was proud. I was elated, matter of fact, because, boy, what happened was the customers just followed you, your clients.
They did.
Of course, you had personal relationship with this. One of the things that I love about Ellen is that she is a problem solver. So when she goes and attacks her business, she's looking for solutions. She's not looking for the income. She's not looking, you don't even look at it that way. You look at it, how can I solve problems and do what I love to do?
And as a result, I feel like I really make a difference in people's lives and the clients. I don't know very many attorneys who can actually say that their clients call them up on a daily or weekly basis and say, wow, I'm really excited to talk to you and thank you so much and I appreciate everything. I feel much better now that I talked to you. And they pay my bills. I never have receivables. It's my partner is thrilled.
Yeah, I don't blame them, that's for sure.
But it's a great feeling to make a difference in people's lives.
Yeah, and the firm you're with now is a small firm. How many?
6 attorneys.
6 attorneys. So that's a lot different than what you had before. And being part of a large company, the business location for the main office is not where you were at. So you lose in touch. It's another thing I often say is, somebody in Washington has no idea about my life. And that's kind of what the corporate America brings too. The larger the company, the harder it is to really connect with those people who really do all the work.
Yeah, and you lose touch with what the actual needs are, and the most important thing you lose touch with is the people.
Yeah.
And there's nothing without the people.
That's for sure. So the other change that we made about 7 or 8 years ago, of course, was the change to the paleo or primitive style of eating. And well, the first thing I remember is that when I said I was going to make this change, and you said, well, you'll try it for a week or 2 weeks or something.
What everybody has to understand here is that when I come home from work and all the furniture is moved because he's a Virgo, and he thought, oh, it's time to move the furniture. So I'm thinking, oh, here we go again, some new thing. And the next thing I thought was, I just bought 8 boxes of whole grain cereal. And of course he wants to stop eating grains.
Yes.
So, but it didn't make any sense to me not to try it. And the results were staggering.
Yeah.
I didn't realize I had a sensitivity to the grains. And as a result, when I stopped eating them, because every morning I got up and had my bowl of whole grain cereal and my soy milk because I'm lactose intolerant.
Right, that was another hurdle for sure.
And my tomatoes and olives, and I was enjoying my breakfast, and then now I'm thinking, well, gosh, what am I going to eat for breakfast? That's kind of the big thing that people say to me. What do you eat for breakfast?
Yeah.
If I can't pour a box of cereal, and then what am I going to eat?
Yeah, that's a big shift. And we went, of course, back to bacon and eggs, or just eggs for you. You also are big on eating these sour things as a method to help you digest food, which people have to understand that, the hardest thing for our bodies to digest is not the meat and the fat, unless you're unhealthy in some way, is the roughage. That's harder for our body. And in fact, all the greens and everything that we eat is the last thing that digests. So if you're eating meat and potatoes or meat and the meat gets digested first all the time, and the other stuff is kind of sitting there. And that's why the belching takes place, because it's kind of rotting. Okay, so that's the way the body works, and we had a few different stumbles along the way of what we thought was good and not good.
I discovered I couldn't tolerate tomatoes.
Right.
And not realizing they were part of the nightshade family with potatoes, and so I had to give up all my tomatoes.
Yeah.
But 10 days into the change,
Yeah.
I had gone down 2 belt notches. And that sold me.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
obviously there was a problem previously.
Yeah. And the other thing was, I don't know how long it took, but you noticed really a difference in your arthritis pain and pains in your hands and things.
That was
the
within
joints.
10 days.
Was that also?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. My arthritis is still there, but I have no pain.
Yeah. So that's a huge thing when you can relieve some pain. That's for sure.
That to me seems like the most motivating reason. How many times I've had conversations with people, they say, oh, but I can't give up my bread. I have terrible pain in my joints, and I hurt all the time. Every morning I get up, and I say, have you tried eliminating grains from your diet? And they say,
I can't.
oh no. You mean no bread?
Yeah.
You mean no cereal?
No pasta?
No pizza?
It's tough to fathom for a lot of people, and I'm kind of surprised that I fathomed them right away. It just made so much sense to me. When I took a look at the literature on it and where it was coming from and how these people have done tests on this, it just said, I'm going to do this because and I just kind of put a wall around all those foods that I don't eat anymore. I don't think about them anymore. And I thought that would be the problem. I thought especially bread. We always like to have a little bread before we eat, And then I started really doing research on myself and say, okay, when did bread really become part of my lifestyle? And I noticed that through the years, it just kept getting more and more. Never did my family eat bread before our big meal at night. We only had it for lunch. We didn't even have toast for breakfast until the toaster was invented. And the ones that you used to flip back and forth, remember? So, and we didn't, there was no use having...
We never had bread with the meal, and except if company came. My mother would heat up the little rolls, and then every single time she forgot they were there.
They would burn?
No, they didn't burn. They just sat there. And so she'd go in the kitchen to clear the table, and she'd go, oh, the rolls. And she'd bring them out, and everybody would have to eat one because she cooked them.
That's really something. So, so we're 8 years into this whole thing, and things are pretty smooth. We still have cut out things as we went along. I think the last thing we did was really take nuts out of our vocabulary. And as much as I like to eat pistachios and walnuts and things like that, I found that my life is just a lot better without them. Now, I haven't tried the traditional way of soaking them and letting them ferment, and maybe sometime I'll do that and kind of introduce them again. But it just seems like a lot of work because, it's not like we're primitives and that's all we have to do. Back in the old days, you were living to find your food and fix up your shelter, and pretty much the rest of the day was kind of cool. Today, we're more into the slave market that I always bring up. And we certainly feel that because, we have to be at work a certain amount of time, 40, 60 hours a week. And the nice change with you is you went from 40, 60 hours a week, not enjoying it, to 40, 60 hours a week, enjoying the heck out of it, and probably not even working as hard and enjoying that. So that's something to really wrap your head around. So the number here is 877-927-6648. Please give us a call if you'd like to join the conversation, and Ellen and I will be right back. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Biotech is booming, but for how long? Whether you think the biotech bull has room to run or has run its course, trade LABU or LABD. Direction's daily S&P Biotech 3 times bull and bear ETFs. Visit directioninvestments.com/biotech today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Nico and Paige take your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
Welcome back, folks. Nico and Ellen here. Yeah, I'm so used to saying Paige, but my wonderful wife is here, and I'm really glad you're here, baby. We were talking about something last night in our conversation about the bees and how there are a lot of concerns about the bee population, that it's declining. And this has happened over back in the 1800s. There was a scare back in the 1920s, the 1960s, I remember, and also in mid-1990s, a lot of colony collapses. I read last night an interesting thing about that in the Himalayas and in Japan, they have pollinators because they don't have bees anymore. So they actually have people going around to each plant and pollinating them so they can get the crops out. Pretty amazing.
That seems hard to imagine.
Yeah.
I was on a flight. I think I was flying out for a conference, a business conference, and sat next to a gentleman who was from Berkeley, University of California, Berkeley.
Yeah.
And he was actually a person, his job was to research the bees.
Yeah.
And he was heading out for a field trip and wrote a whole book about bees. And we had an interesting conversation, and this was about probably a little less than a year ago.
Uh-huh.
And we were talking. Everybody's going to want to live at our house after they hear about these wonderful conversations we had. We were talking about, okay, if you're on the paleo diet and you don't eat the potatoes and those kinds of things, and you don't eat very many greens, and you don't eat as many vegetables and fruits, what impact would it have on the paleo diet? Would it affect the animals that we do eat?
Yeah. Well, that's a good question. Does anybody really know? I mean, we're talking about a species that is so intricate in the way it deals with all the other plants and animals and everything like that. You know, there's things like roads, things like buildings and towns, and everything that disrupts the natural order of things. And of course now we have pesticides and fertilizers that could be impacting the bees also. And I know in the United States, because of the way we do agriculture, we ship bees all over the place. I know people from Missouri go to California during the almond season to help pollinate. So we've really changed the way the modern bee is completely different than the prehistoric, let's say, prehistory of before agriculture bee. I don't know what the impact is completely, but every 10 years or so we seem to have these problems of the bees dying. But is it just the bees? I'm wondering, are we seeing the same decline in maybe butterflies? Are we seeing the same decline in, I don't see any decline in the Argentine fire ants on our property, things like that. So are we changing the whole species? Because I often, we look into cities and we know the animals in cities are more domesticated, or at least they follow the domesticated man. Because the rats that are out in the wild are a completely different species than the Norway rats and the river rats and things that follow the human beings around. We didn't have problems with pests on the grand scale before agriculture like we have now, because everything is so integrated and everything is it's not as segregated. We segregate everything. It seems like modern, the modern man seems to segregate everything. And this is what we're going to talk about in the next segment, because you're dealing with community associations, and one of the things that I see in community associations is they're segregating the age of the people. People who are 55 or 60 and older can live in these places, but very few younger people will be living in those communities, correct?
Actually, Florida is one of the few places where you see that predominantly. When I travel for business and I do national conferences, I ask how many of you have communities that are 55 and over, and very few people. So
it's a thing for us, and maybe also with Arizona.
Yes, and North Carolina, California to some extent.
So the retirement communities is what we're really talking about.
But in addition to that, we do have aging in place, which is a slightly different topic, which means people aging in their homes, being left in their homes instead of moved to assisted living or other facilities, which creates a lot of issues for community associations. I was going to say about the agriculture thing. Once you have a silo full of grain, what self-respecting rat is not going to go eat there?
Sure. It's like going to Dunkin' Donuts. You got to stop, right?
Yeah,
in a sense.
It's free food. It's smorgasbord. It's right there.
Yeah.
And really a lot of piling up the hay on the farm, and a lot of the things that we do through agriculture, planting all the cornfields and whatnot.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're planting one plant, and of course, when a bug sees one plant, it goes, yum. 877-927-6648 is the number here. We'll continue this with Ellen and Nico. So we'll be right back, folks.
You've heard Nico de Haan as co-host of Living a Primal Lifestyle, which airs every Friday at noon Eastern Time on TFNN, and would like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
No matter where you listen to TFNN programming, we want you to know you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programming every market day from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program by accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We even have an easy link for all mobile devices, including iPhones and iPads, located at the top right-hand corner of the TFNN homepage. You can use your smartphone to view Tiger TV, but if you don't have a mobile connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit TFNN.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all of our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and radio call and talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com, educating investors. This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. Nico and Ellen here on Living a Primal Lifestyle. So we were talking about the bees and things, and that's a type of colony, but we have our natural colonies here with human beings. We call them tribes. And I've always felt that the tribe was our natural self-organization system. I think everything has a self-organizing, certainly birds go in flocks, and wolves go in packs, and pods are for the whales, so it seems natural that our natural selection would be the circus type of community, where a tribe, where nobody is much more important than the other one. Everybody kind of pulls their weight, and it's a nice communal thing. And back in the old days, 10,000 years ago, when people were living like this, there was very little crime. There was very little hierarchy, where somebody was the slave and somebody else was the king or queen or the well-to-do. And certainly in our modern age, that has gone astray, to say the least. The business you're in, and you've written a couple of books on aging in place and about community associations, and you deal mostly with the legal aspect of it, but you see so much more.
Yeah, it's talking about tribes. The whole concept was, as your people aged, the tribe took care of them. They were the elders. They were the ones with the wisdom.
Yes.
You went to them for advice.
Right,
and
because
so
we
on.
didn't have TV.
The internet. We didn't have the internet.
Right.
Yeah, so where you can instantly get advice.
Right.
That's very relevant to your life. Yeah.
Maybe.
what I see in some of these communities is what's called warehousing, which is that the folks up north or out west have sent grandma or mom or dad or whatever down to their condo in Florida, and they put them in a place and they say, great, now look at that, grandma lives in Florida. And they go back home. And grandma, little by little, becomes more diminished in her capacity. Her ability to hear isn't as good, or she can't see so well. She starts losing her balance a little bit. Her driving isn't what it could be.
Right.
And now she's beginning to, then she needs help. Then she starts calling the board of directors, or she starts calling the manager of the community. And a lot of managers have the experience of having a particular homeowner they have the manager's number on speed dial because they don't have anybody to talk to.
Right.
And they're so isolated.
And especially someone that deeply cares about them, because the manager really doesn't have the same investment as your relative does.
But a manager is at least a human being on the other end of the phone.
True.
So these people get calls every day from different owners and different residents within the communities. It's an interesting microcosm of our world order, really.
Yes.
If you look at these community associations, because you have the people who are your subjects, your constituents, as it were.
Right.
You have a representative republic kind of government like we do here in the United States. So you have an elected board of directors whose job it is to run the place. And then the people who live there, the owners, elect the board of directors. And then sometimes the boards get caught up and lose touch with what the will of the people is, and we often have conversations about if you're going to do this, what does the community think about this new project? And I recommend having an open town meeting kind of thing, so that they can have a conversation and see get some input. And it's if you get too separated in a community association, you have serious problems, just as you do in the overall scheme of the governments of the United States or anything else. And if you lose your local connections, if you don't create a feeling of community so that people are happy to be there, want to be a part of it, then you end up with alienation and isolation and confrontation.
Yeah. What's your opinion on as far as most people happy in a community association setting?
Yes, they really are. The organization through which we met, Community Associations Institute, has had several national studies done, some Zogby reports in it, and it showed that probably 85% of the people who live in communities all over the United States, including Alaska and Hawaii, are very content with their situation. The maintenance is done for them. Right. They can go away and leave their unit and not worry about it because somebody's keeping an eye on it. They like having neighbors that they can talk to. There are activities going on within the community. It gives them a lot of opportunities. Right. Maybe they have a big tennis court and a swimming pool that they wouldn't be able to afford in a single-family home. Right. And most people are quite satisfied with living in a community association.
Yeah. One thing we've always said, we'll never do that.
I know too much.
Maybe that's it. I know. I can't see myself in that situation, but I can see how it draws people in, and I can see the convenience of it. And in our modern living, it seems like a natural answer to problems.
Sometimes it's the only option.
It's the only option.
The new construction is mostly in associations of one sort or another because the low-hanging fruit has all been plucked. The easy places to build that are close to the infrastructure has already been built. Yeah. Now you're building out, and the cities and the counties, especially with the problems since 2005 when the real estate market crashed, don't have the money to pay for running the electric lines out there, running the cable out there, running the water lines, the sewer lines, the telephone connections, and so on. And so the individual developers are paying that money as part of their development costs. Yeah. And that way the county gets the services out to where it needs to go. Yeah. Yeah. And there's pretty much very little being built that isn't in an association right now.
It seems that way. I mean, when you go down I-75, and you see the sprawl there, and all those things are communities. There's no doubt about it. So I wanted to kind of progress, because what's the motivation for people to do this? In other words, what is their belief going into this? I know there's a lot of laws and things that people really don't, when they enter into an agreement with an association, they're really restricting their own livelihood in a sense. There's certain things they can't do, and they may or may not know that.
Yeah, I think, well, that's part of the problem we have in the whole industry is consumer ignorance of what they're buying. There's so many people that do not understand what they bought. I've even had a president of an association call me to see about representation, and I said, are you in a condominium or is it a homeowners association? And her answer was, oh, I don't know. And she was the president of the association.
Wow.
Yeah, and I often say that if I were in charge, I would require an 8-hour course in what it means to live in a community association before a person bought in.
Well, this is kind of what you do.
Yeah, I do. I do public workshops and teach this and so on. And because an educated consumer is a boon to the system.
Yeah.
I think there's a call.
Is there? Oh, we have Tom from Orlando about bees. Yeah, we can take that call. Let's, Tom, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, Tom, how you doing?
Hey, good. I was calling a health expert that I know about a different topic, and while I was on hold with him, you went into your bee story there.
Okay.
And so at the end of the other subject, I ran that news by him, and he said, oh, yes, bee pollinators are needed in a lot of places, but he told me something else.
Okay.
He said he would send me an article about some biological process of raising bees differently that makes them so healthy that they could be in one field, and the next field over has GMO crops, and they're so healthy and alert that they do not consume any of the GMO stuff over there.
Wow.
So when I get that, I'll pass that on to you. And
I appreciate that.
And I told him, isn't the main problem the cell phone towers? And he said, that used to be a problem, but it's not a problem anymore. The big problem now with the bees is toxins. And so what he said makes sense. And then I just discovered that in Clearwater area, there's a really good source of raw, unheated honey from the Apalachicola forest.
Yes.
And apparently that's a really clean, toxic-free area.
Yeah, and not only that, getting local honey is really good for you, because then your allergies are helped by consuming that.
Well, I've known that for years, but one question I would have there I'm in Orlando, Apalachicolas in the Panhandle. Is that close enough to be considered local? It's more local than California,
so. I have my honey is from Georgia, southern Georgia, and it's a very consistent source, but I do notice as we go through the year, the consistency and everything changes with the season. So I think that's close enough. Probably the closer you get, probably the better it is, but the Panhandle is not that much different than here.
Right, that's a lot closer than, like, say, Missouri or California.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
I know in Orlando there's quite a lot of natural honey from the orange blossoms.
Yeah.
Yes, but I've discovered this new thing from Clearwater, and they get it from Apalachicola, and it's unheated. That has to be unheated, and they don't always say that. So.
True.
Exactly. Yeah, the heating actually destroys.
Thank you.
Hey,
Thanks, Tom.
I'm enjoying the show, even though Paige isn't there.
Yeah, she'll be back next week, so we're all
You got
set.
your redhead instead of the blonde this time.
Right.
Thanks a lot, Tom. So, one of the things that, and we were talking about this last night, is we need a kind of, everybody has their own beliefs. And we certainly have religion, we have politics, we have all these kind of things, believing in the kind of food you eat, whatever. But what is the one thing that everybody can agree on? There has to be something, there has to be some kind of common ground that we start with to change the way society, because I really feel like we need to change kind of backwards to the systems that we used to have before money, before that hierarchy, before the kings and the queens and the rich people. So we kind of determined last night there was one thing that everybody can agree on, that we want to be alive, first of all, and we want to be healthy.
Right.
So everybody has that same belief system that living healthy is probably the most important thing.
Feeling good.
And feeling good about yourself, and the healthiness. So if we start from that premise and start working towards that in a society, I think that changes everything. And it starts always with the food. It also starts with the environment naturally too. But if you're really concerned about the food and how the earth used to provide this for us without our interference, and now we're working like dogs trying to get back to that, but we never seem to because we're always doing something that's completely out of our natural order.
And what's our focus? What's the focus of every country in the world? It's pretty much the governance and the fiscal, the money.
The money.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, we have the GDP, right? And that's how our society is measured. And that's just, I mean, isn't that just only about the making of the money? What's the surplus? What's the profit margin?
And who's spending the money? Who's controlling the money?
So we have 15% of the population controlling just about 80% of the money and the power, where we have 80% of the people only having, what, 15%?
15 to 20%.
15 to 20%. So it's really out of whack. And what they said in this article I was reading by Peter Joseph was that there's no incentive to change that because the top 15% are doing fine. They're making the profit, where the rest of the people are the slaves. So why should they change?
Well, we were talking on the way over here about the Star Trek universe, and there's no money in the Star Trek universe.
Right.
And everybody just accepted that when Star Trek came out.
Right.
That nobody said one word about there's no money in that universe. Everybody just is provided for. They have clothes and food and homes, and they work and they do their thing, and they're still creative. And
if you take money out of it, then automatically, I believe, you could automatically go into saying you're going to do what you love to do.
But remember in the 50s and the early 60s, there would be programs on about mankind is going to be much more leisure because
it was on Disney.
Robots are going to be doing everything, and
we have much more leisure time. We can go into the arts more.
Right,
yes,
right, and it went completely the opposite. Yes, robots are used in a lot of making cars or other industry, but it certainly did not make life easier for anybody. And now both parents have to.
It made it easier for the top 15%, perhaps. And that's not saying they're not working hard. I'm not saying that at all. But one of the things that struck me is that there's no passion in most people's work. That 80% that are doing all the work, you're not glad to go to work. I know when I dropped out of corporate America, when you dropped out of corporate America, the stress just left.
Yeah, because you have to look forward to Monday as much as you look forward to Friday. Otherwise, you need to do something about how your life is.
Yeah,
run.
because now I'm working just as hard, and I'm enjoying it a lot, and I'm doing things, of course, that I really love. So that really makes a difference too. But hunter and gatherers really had that balance where nobody really was more important. If you needed something, you were helped. But you were helped in such a way that they weren't saying, "Oh, you dirtbag, you're not doing anything here. You have some scraps." It's not that type of help. It's helping you and you feeling good about doing your part. And your part is something that you're excited about. So that's cool. I like it. So anyway, the number here is still 877-927-6648. Please pick up some Primal Edge. Please take a look at our newsletters and pick those up. And we'll be back in just a couple minutes for our last segment. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge, heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Steve Rhodes as he teaches techniques on technical analysis using pattern recognition, celestial charting, Fibonacci, and other tools. The Trader's Edge, next on TFNN.
Welcome back, folks. You know, amazingly, it appears that for well over 90% of this human species' existence on this planet, as we know it, there were social organizations that did not use money, that did not have hierarchy, and they did not have a counter-dominance strategy where the majority of the people would work together to shut down any individual trying to gain power. Pretty much the reverse of what we have today. The Neolithic Revolution, which is what started the agriculture, it provided human beings with the ability to control their environment more intently, and the sustenances of life could now be cultivated, especially at will. Now, this advent would appear to have a profound effect on the human population. And what we've determined is that hunter-gatherers have thousands of wild sources of food to subsist in. Today we have a dozen or so. So we're generating a reliance on just a few dozen food sources, which is really bad for the planet because diversity is much, much better. It also allowed for the invention of poverty. So
that statement alone is just mind-blowing.
It is.
When you think about it.
Before agriculture, there was no poverty.
Because everybody had what they needed to live, and they went about their business.
Yeah, nobody was hoarding things, because as soon as you start agriculture, you have a surplus, you lock it up. Now somebody's in control of it, so you can't have any, especially good for armies, large churches, all those things that we have today. So I think that's the culprit. And especially when you focus on it like our society does. And when I say our society, I don't just mean the United States. Every government is using this profit-based margin pretty much. Even the communists are doing the same thing. The socialists are saying they all do it in a different manner, but they still have the hierarchy where 15% of the population is ruling over the rest of the 80%, and we're pretty much slaves in it. And that's the thing I think that we could change, and that's how we change the health of the whole human population. And we have the ability today, I think, to do that with our technology. And you were saying before, the robots and everything that was going to help us. Well, they're talking about now, within 10 years, having no more truck drivers on the highways because the automated trucks. What are we going to do with these thousands of people? So, and the people who own those trucks are going to be the people who own the trucking companies, not the owner so much anymore. It's, I don't know what's going to happen, so we really don't. But in our system, scarcity equals profit. Scarcity is the most important thing we have here. So we have a society based on scarcity. When it's scarce, it's worth more.
Right, the value.
The value of it, yeah.
I got an email. It was one of those, how old is this person kind of thing. And it was very interesting to me because it listed a whole bunch of things. Talk a little bit. I'm going to see if I can find it real quick, because it's fascinating how many things have come into our world, into our daily existence, just in the last 50 years that seem like we've always had them. Well, the market industrial system institutes scarcity in a manner completely unparalleled, and to a degree nowhere else approximated, where production and distribution are arranged through the behavior of prices, and all livelihoods depend on getting and spending. Yeah, this is a person born in 1952 was born before television, penicillin, frozen foods, contact lenses, Frisbees, no pill, no credit cards, no ballpoint pens, no pantyhose, no air conditioners, dishwashers, clothes dryers. It's fascinating.
Yeah. Folks, that's the show today. Thanks, Ellen, for stopping by. I love you. I'm so glad you were here. And Paige will be back next week, so come back and see us. Thanks a lot.
Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
You're watching Tiger TV.